All right, so yesterday stocks moved higher. Oracle reported earnings after the bell. We'll take a look at this. Apple had the big event yesterday, but overall markets are waiting for tomorrow. Why? What's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow, the first of two inflation reports will be released, CPI data, and we'll take a look at what markets are doing right now ahead of the CPI data. Now, with that said, welcome to Coffee with Markus and Mark. And today is Tuesday, September 10th. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And Mark, yesterday, well, I want to declare victory because if we look at a 5-minute chart of the S&P, and yesterday, when we had our show, Coffee with Markus and Mark, we were looking at somewhere here where the S&P 500 started to move lower. And I said, all right, it will rally into the close and we will move higher. And boom, what did we do? We finished 1.2% higher.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, Marcus. I'll buy you a cookie when we're in Cayman.
No, however, okay, now in all seriousness, yesterday, not a whole lot. Yes, markets opened higher yesterday and were able to maintain it. But, I mean, Mark, you said we'll probably diddle along. And that's kind of what we did because from the open to the close, we were just marginally moving higher. So I give this to you as well. It was a diddle day as well.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. I get a consolation prize there. A
All
consolation
right.
cookie.
Yes, you come in second out of two places, which others would call last place, but hey, it's a second place. So, all right. So, yeah, let's see what's happening right now. I mean, not a whole lot because we've been talking about it. What do we have on deck this week? Well, two major events happening right now. Tonight, we will have the presidential debate. So that's happening at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And then tomorrow, the CPI data. So kind of a double whammy because the presidential debate could move the markets at least a few sectors. And then, of course, the CPI data tomorrow. I mean, we want to make sure that we are not seeing any surprises. Right now, it is expected that the CPI data, as well as the core CPI, comes in at 0.2%. And traders want to see this. We don't want to see inflation ticking up again, especially since we had the weaker jobs report last week.
Exactly. And this is where it's an important piece of data for the Fed. I really don't think this will change anything unless there's a huge surprise, but you never know. Yeah, I mean, and you just never know what CPI is going to look like. It is an important report.
I mean, I agree. Maybe an uptick of to 0.3 wouldn't be a huge big deal. But if we see an uptick to 0.4 and then, wait a minute, okay, inflation is still moving higher and the labor market is softening. So this kind of means that the Fed is failing at both of their mandates. So what do they do now, right? And right now, traders are anticipating that the Fed is lowering interest rates. And we see very similar to yesterday, 71% probability of a 0.25% rate cut and 29% probability of a 0.5 percentage point cut. And this is coming up next week.
Yeah. And even if they do cut 0.25% with an uptick in inflation, it could change the wording for how aggressive they are with cuts in the future, and how many they expect for the rest of the year, right? Because if they do a cut, but then say that it's something they really need to be mindful of, that isn't necessarily what investors want to hear. Investors want to hear, hey, we're cutting and now's the time and we expect more cuts. And that's where inflation coming in or CPI coming in line with expectations or even lower would be fantastic for the Fed.
Yeah. All right. Two more major events yesterday. First of all, Oracle reporting earnings. And right now, Oracle up 12%. Also, Apple having the iPhone reveal event or the glowing event, whatever it was called. So we will talk about this. But first, let's take a look at Oracle. And wow, I mean, what a move here this morning. I mean, pulling back a little bit, but still up 12%.
Wow is right, and they just had some great numbers there. But if we look at the earnings beat, but also a revenue beat, looking pretty good for Oracle. They also said that they struck a new deal with Amazon Web Services, and investors liking it.
For sure. I mean, so Oracle up and away the second time right now, because previously, look at this. I mean, we had this huge run up after the previous earnings in the last quarter, and right now, Oracle doing it again, it seems.
Yeah, nice little move.
And then we did have the Apple event yesterday. And I mean, we talked about it this morning with our mastermind members. It's not that after any of these events we see a decisive move for Apple. I mean, it's kind of like diddling along. And that's also what we saw yesterday. If you look at a 5 minute chart of yesterday of what happened leading up to the event and during the event.
And this is where it's a big buzz and people get excited about it. But as far as a huge, move in either direction, I don't typically see that. Apple did announce their new iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus. These phones are equipped with artificial intelligence features. So, I mean, in the big picture here, that could be a nice thing for Apple. But there was also news of Apple having to spend a couple of $1 billion.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing at a time. So, here's where we see the event starts. At first, traders were nervous, then getting excited for the event. The event starts in the first hour after the 90-minute event. Stocks drop because basically Apple says, yes, we will have Apple Intelligent with this AI. And they said, yeah, we kind of don't have approval for EU and China yet, which is two big, massive markets for Apple. So this where at first it was like, yeah. But then traders also looked into what Apple released, and they basically said, you know what? If you want to see all of these, or if you want to utilize all of these AI features, you must have an iPhone 16. And this, of course, will lead to massive sales for iPhones because people like me, I'm enthusiastic about AI. And usually I only upgrade every other year. So I used to have the iPhone 11 Pro. Then I used to have the 13 Pro. Right now I have the 15 Pro. So I was kind of waiting for the 17 Pro because we know what does Apple usually announce? Well, we have a faster chip in there and we have a better camera. No big deal, right? I mean, I can wait a year. But kind of now, knowing that, yeah, I kind of have to upgrade, I might do this. And this will be huge for Apple. And I think this is where investors got excited yesterday going into the close.
I'll take your explanation.
Yeah. But then here's also the deal. Then this morning, the news that Apple must pay 13 billion euros, a little bit over 14 billion dollars in back taxes. That was ruled by an EU top court. And I believe that they cannot appeal this, so that they really have to do this. And this is why this morning we don't see a follow through. In fact, Apple down 0.25%, but it looked much, much, much worse this morning. So that's a biggie.
Yeah, and I just pulled this up from their numbers. June 30th of 2024, Apple had 62 billion in cash. So 14 billion settlements. It's decent. Not based on the overall market cap of Apple. It's just you know a minor blip for them. But as far as cash on hand, it's decent.
Yeah. And then also, kind of right before Apple had the big event, Huawei, the Chinese cell phone manufacturer, came out with some big news. Did you see that?
I did not.
Well, here's what they said. They said, "Well, while you're still all playing in the dirt with flip phones, we have a trifold smartphone. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, this thing opens up to basically an iPad. This is what it looks
Interesting.
like, and this is how it opens up. Now, hefty price tag, $2,800. But we know that Samsung has the Galaxy Fold, which is basically this, half of it.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, we're taking it to the next level. Now, I think, honestly, this is innovation. If you have a phone that doubles as kind of an iPad, I think this is pretty genius. And this is where Apple, please take note. I mean, please, can you do something similar that's freaking awesome instead of standing in the shadow? Now, Huawei phones, I do believe they are banned in the US. I'm not quite sure, but under the Trump administration a few years ago, there was this big deal. I don't know if this is still the case or not. If you know, leave it in the comments. Would be curious because that is a pretty slick phone.
Yeah, not too bad. $2,800. Interesting.
$2,800. Okay. And I mean, in the Chinese market, both phones are set to begin in store sales on September 20th. So we'll see who wins.
Okay.
All right. What else? Well, I think we can take a look at our positions.
Yeah.
All right. WTF. So still CEG, a trade that we did not take, and we were hoping that we have a retracement that we can get into the trade, and we did see a retracement almost exactly to the 200-day moving average. We had a price target where we wanted to buy it, and it just missed it by a few cents. So right now, trading around the entry price of the original entry, and we are not in this trade.
Nope.
All right. Then AVGO, or we should talk about AZN, AstraZeneca. This was a trade that we entered on Friday. And
Yes.
look at this. Yesterday, we got stopped out of this trade. So this is a loss that we had there because there were some news also drug related that there, can't remember what kind of drug were not as effective as they hoped it would be. As you can see, there was a quick dip, just enough to get us stopped out. So, yep, this is where we had a small stop out here on AstraZeneca.
Yeah, not what we wanted to have happen, but it's part of the strategy. And I see a stop out maybe 1 out of 20 trades. So that's part of trading.
Yeah. And AVGO right now, Broadcom, our other signal that we entered yesterday, really making up for it and basically erasing that loss. So if we would close it right now, it would cover the loss that we experienced in AstraZeneca. And I'll take this. I mean, we'll see if we get an exit signal tomorrow.
Yeah, might do that. Either way, loving the move.
Yeah. And I mean, again, with yesterday, overall, the market being up 1.2%, we didn't get any new WTF signal. And we still have our wheel signal, which should probably start in alphabetical order. And we start with BP, a stock that you're in. I decided not to trade it because I was in other positions at this time. I am still in these other positions. So therefore, I like to trade up to 5 positions. I'm full, but you decided to trade BP.
Yeah, and I mean today, unfortunate that we're seeing a continuation of this move lower. Now, crude oil also a big part of this. Oil and gas stocks down in general, because crude oil right now trading at 66.50 a barrel. Look at that. So down 3.3%.
Right. I mean, that's a level that we haven't seen since May 2023. So right now, what, almost 1.5 years, so a little bit just shy of 1.5 years. Probably the lowest price that we have seen in 15 months, something like this. So crude oil still moving lower, surprisingly, I must say, because I thought that there was some refineries in the Gulf shutting down because of a tropical storm. But crude oil down 3% today.
Yeah, big move.
Yeah. CSIQ diddling along there, pushing lower this morning. Right now, back up to 1188. Kind of unchanged from yesterday, down 0.1%. So we'll see. On a line chart, it seems that we do have a level that might hold as support. And as we can see, we need a few more days of data before we can say whether the 12 level here is really support. We see that it made a few pushes lower. And yeah, Probably a little bit longer in this stock. So nothing for us to do here. HAL Mark, Halliburton, very similar here to BP, also moving lower.
Exactly. And also tied to crude oil. I mean, what could you say there? It was interesting because over the last year, BP and Halliburton weren't as correlated as you might expect, but with this move lower, they've been moving in tandem.
Yeah. All right, nothing for us to do there. Coles this morning up half a percentage point. I am assigned at 2150, looking to sell calls at 2150 right now. Probably not possible. If I hop over here to the calculator, look at Coles and the 2150 right now, I would get around 4% annualized. I'm looking for 30% annualized. So as you can see, I need to get at least 7 cents. Right now, trading at 1 by 3 cents at the 2150. So calls needs to move a little bit higher before I can sell calls again. But I'm okay with this. I mean, overall, this here for me is a good looking chart. I mean, we are trading nicely at support. It is a possible wheel trade that we have open today. So if you want, you can join me here and sell the 19 put. And I think it's a super solid stock.
Yeah, not too bad.
Merck. Yesterday, Merck got hammered at first because another company said that their drug for lung cancer treatment was way more efficient than Merck's. So let me just get rid of the expected move here because there's a lot of lines here. So this where Merck opened much lower, down 5%, recovered, ended the day negative of 2.5%. Today, traders don't know yet what to think about it, down half a percentage point. I still have sold my 120 calls last week, and I was able to buy them back yesterday. So right now, with a chance, hopefully, to double dip, I'm waiting that we move a little bit higher, and then I will be able to sell calls against my existing position. But yeah, they closed out yesterday, and this worked out great at 90% of max profits. I'll take that.
That works. Now let's get another push higher.
Yes. And then UPS. Still in this range between 124 and 132. Right now, hanging out at the upper end of the range, and UPS. That's where we want to go. We want to break out of this range because I believe, Mark, once we break out of this range, I believe that we can very quickly fill the gap and rally up to 144. Now, double-edged sword because we're also hoping to fly a rescue mission at around 124, 125, and at this higher levels that's not possible. So yes, on the one hand, we want UPS to take off, and we wouldn't be too sad if at first we make another push lower before taking off, right?
Exactly. You know, mixed feelings about this one, but gosh, if it's this upper range, let's get through that. It's really coiling up, narrowing, and we know that it's not going to stay there forever.
It will not. So this is what we have going on here. And if you enjoy what we are showing you here, give us a like. And now it's the time in the show for some bad dad jokes. And again, we'll see who has the better one. Mark, I mean, I looked at the comments. It seems that yesterday my broccoli won.
I would say so.
I would say so. Okay.
You won the S&P. You won with broccoli.
Gosh, 2 for 1. I should stop right here. So what do you got for us today?
Well, I probably shouldn't be sharing this with everybody, but my favorite password is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's great when a password requires 8 characters.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. What do you call a fish with no eyes?
What? Mm.
Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do that one more time.
A fish with no eyes. is a
I gotta, the facial, the movement, the enthusiasm there. I gotta give it to you for the last two jokes.
okay. Jumping back at the markets and looking at the markets, it seems that right now the S&P is basically doing what it did yesterday, opening higher, then a push lower, and now going higher. Now today, I have a different prediction though. I do believe that traders will be nervous. I do believe that we might be able to eke out a gain, but I do believe that we will be rather flat. So my prediction is that we end up anywhere between up 0.1% and down 0.1%. So basically flat for the day. That's what I'm thinking going ahead into the presidential debate for tomorrow and going into the super important CPI report. Are you with me?
I'm with you on that, Marcus. I
Good.
agree.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's show. If you did, give us a like. We really appreciate the likes. Let us know after the show in the comment which of these dad jokes was better: Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the 8 characters, or the. You don't want to miss tomorrow's show. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do it right now. Hit subscribe, hit the little notification bell, because this way you get notified whenever we go live. And tomorrow will be the day, I'm predicting it, where the markets are moving. So you don't want to miss it.
Happy trading, everybody.